We're off to Australia where rain, wind, and hail lashed the Gold Coast and surrounding locales. Damage came fast and the hail once more hit dangerous levels. Once it starts covering about half your hand, you have ventured into territory where a strike to the head could be the end. Of course, watching for other things that could fall on your head is a good move in a storm too. Folks, the Great Lakes have been at the edge of overflow for months now. Record high marks, and that means extra coastal erosion, and mega ice block tsunamis from wind will be extra harsh this year. Looking ahead, we've got major weather coming to the U.S. and Europe tonight. Gulf low will tear up the eastern seaboard, while across the pond we're going to the edge of the North Atlantic low, which will drive Mediterranean storms and mountain snow as it dives towards Greece by tonight. Let's get one more on weather here, looking at El Nino and the rise of disease. Hanta, cholera, plague, dengue, and more. These diseases and their periodic flare-ups and outbreaks are largely driven by environmental factors. The right warm front can triple the soil microbe population. The right wind carries it to different places on the dust in the air. The food response and the people that eat the food, plus their responses to environmental changes. Link and video are below. Up next, we've got the new Ionosphere data, but truly, I have to admit once again, these are exceptionally underwhelming. While they are able to see things like the solar eclipse effect on the upper atmosphere, there is little in terms of small-scale ionization detail, whereas a closer look at higher cadence could deliver valuable information about the weather and lithosphere-ionosphere coupling known to happen before earthquakes. But alas, this is what we've got. Up next, we're going out to Mars, where we've got two stories from the Red Planet, and the first is a mapping of its winds. In one of Maven's more impressive feats and one of the more impressive visualizations of them, we are able to see the elevation-driven wind flows and how the cell's vertical components are measured from above. Just another in the long line of discoveries and scientific gifts from Maven on the formerly Earth-like planet. And speaking of which, there's a very Earth-like aurora on Mars. It's actually very common there, and it's called a Proton Aurora. Solar wind hydrogen ions strike neutral hydrogen in the upper atmosphere, steal an electron, and cause an ultraviolet emission. Sticking with the solar system, but going out to Jupiter next, and the cyclones at its south pole. Not only do we have beautiful images, but recognized patterns. Folks, NASA drew those lines on there, and indeed are recognizing that geometry in the article. Now, while they skew to the optical capability and the multi-wavelength shots, let me remind everyone that the shapes sculpted by the electromagnetic events are simple functions of that energy and how it naturally tends to modulate its surroundings in the universe. When it comes to finding water on other planets, we really should just be looking at the smaller ones. Sadly, most known exoplanets are Neptune to Jupiter size, and it's looking like those have less water vapor in the atmosphere than expected. Remember, it's the rocky planets that contain the other half of that equation. The stars are giving the hydrogen in their wind, but one of the most common elements in space rock is oxygen. Interesting piece here on stardust, the nova remnants and what happens to them over time. What happens when a new solar system forms in the wake of that nova, and why will that